Hello everybody. As Marion said, my name is Vanessa Bailey and I'm the Access Officer in Teagasc. I'm also a member of the HR department there. Firstly, I just wanted to thank the National Disability Authority for their invitation to be here today. I'm delighted to be able to share some of the policies and experiences that we have with you all. I'll start just with a very brief overview of Teagasc, who we are and what it is we do, and talk you through maybe some of the policies that we have to try and encourage the retention of staff who acquire disabilities. And then I'll finish up just with a case study which highlights how those policies are put into place. So firstly, Teagasc, we're the Agriculture and Food Development Authority in Ireland. We're the leading public sector organisation undertaking research, advisory and education services in the agriculture and food sector in the country. A couple of years ago we introduced a change programme, and that has radically, I suppose, rationalised and reorganised the structure of the organisation. We've reduced our senior management team from 6 down to 3, and we're organised into 3 integrated directorates: our research, our knowledge transfer and our operations directorate. Our operations directorate is like our head office functions, our HR, IT, finance, those type of functions. Like many other public sector organisations, our staff numbers have reduced significantly in the last few years. We currently have just over 1,100 staff, which represents a reduction of almost 400 in the last 3 to 4 years. As well as a reduction in staff, we've reduced the number of locations that we operate out of. We are based all over the Republic. We've reduced down from 96 to 95 different offices. And our last staff survey showed that 93% of our staff had a disability. The next slide here shows you just some of the policies that we have in place to retain staff who acquire a disability. These policies have been developed and enhanced over time, and I suppose show how committed we are to developing measures to encourage the recruitment and retention of people who acquire a disability during the course of their employment. Our Equal Opportunities policy sets out a code of practice in the area of recruitment and selection, advertising, interviews, staff development and working arrangements. It states that no staff member or potential staff member will be treated less favourably on any of the 9 grounds set out in the Employment Equality Acts. Our disability policy, which we put in place in 2008, is a clear statement to staff, customers and clients who have a disability. It provides guidance in relation to recruitment, retention, training, development and promotion. It's based on 4 key principles, and these are: 1, to try and encourage or foster a culture which focuses on people's abilities rather than irrelevant disabilities. To ensure that our recruitment practices seek the inclusion of people who have a disability, to provide facilitation for those people, and also to make our services and our information more accessible through designing an accessible environment. Our Dignity at Work policy affirms the right of staff to be treated with dignity and respect. It's very much a proactive policy which focuses on prevention of incidences of bullying and harassment. As part of this policy, what we have done is trained a number of staff members throughout the organisation to act as designated contact persons, I suppose maybe like a staff advocate for want of a better word. And the purpose for these people is to provide support and assistance to anybody who wishes to make a claim under that policy, or make a complaint under that policy. Our sick leave policy, I suppose it's inevitable that from time to time, people will become sick. We have an occupational health service in place to identify any issues which might affect a person in the workplace, also to identify any special requirements that a person might need, and different supports that can be put in place. Since we've introduced this occupational health service, we found that the length of time that a person is out on sick leave has reduced significantly. Also, any new recruits that we bring into the organisation undergo a pre-employment medical with the providers of this service, and that allows for an early identification of any special requirements or accommodations or supports that they might need. Our managers would play a very important role in supporting an employee while they are absent from work. They're very much the point of contact with that employee while they are absent. And we also have 2 dedicated HR staff members, our HR advisors, who work closely with the managers and the employee while they're absent from work. They liaise with the occupational health specialists, and when the person is fit to return to work, the individual themselves, the manager, the occupational health specialist and our HR advisors will agree a return to work action plan. And this plan can, it varies from person to person because obviously everybody's individual circumstances are different. It may involve a change in certain duties. It might involve a complete change of job altogether. In some cases, people will return to work on a phased basis. And also, I suppose, different supports and assistive technologies and training that might be required. The other point, I suppose, in terms of our HR advisors is that they will maintain contact after the person has returned to work just to review the progress and of their reintegration back into the organisation and to see if the supports that are in place are appropriate or if they need to change over time. All of these policies are documented, they're available in our staff handbook, they're on our website, and all our managers and staff have been trained in relation to the operation of these policies. The next slide shows some of the programs and initiatives that we have in place in addition to the policies I've just spoken about. We have an employee assistance program. It's provided externally to the organisation. It's a confidential service which provides specialist support in a number of different areas, work-life balance, family matters, legal matters, finance. It's provided to staff and their family members. And through it, I suppose, people can avail of either face-to-face counselling, telephone consultations. There's also a website which has a huge amount of information. The reason we provide this service is that I suppose we acknowledge very much that there are pressures on staff and their families, and it's not always appropriate that internal resources would deal with those pressures. In addition to our employee assistance programme, we have an employee wellbeing programme. We've offered some information seminars on different topics from managing stress to positive parenting skills. They're just an example of some of the seminars. And as well as that, we have a website which we maintain within our HR department, which has an awful lot of information in relation to mental and physical health and well-being topics such as lifestyle, work-life balance, those sort of things. The purpose for this is to provide an environment where staff are supported and motivated and healthy and fulfilled. We have a number of further initiatives which we're working on at the moment in the area of employee wellbeing, and this is through our people leadership and change strategy, which Marion referred to earlier. It's our latest HR strategy. So we're looking forward to being able to introduce some more initiatives there. Through our staff training programme, specific training or developmental needs are identified and addressed, and in particular any special needs or requirements that a staff member might have are prioritised for funding through this staff training fund. And coaching and mentoring are just an example of some of the recent initiatives that we've introduced. This year as well, we participated in the IASE's Job Shadow Initiative and had a number of placements in various different roles across the organisation. I suppose, it's fair to say that it's one thing to have your policies in place and have them documented, but more importantly, I think, is how those policies are actually operated and how they're put into practice. So what I'd like to do now is just take you through a case study which shows how we have put those policies in place in Teagasc. This particular case study centres around an employee called Anthony who, through a genetic disease, lost his sight. He became blind in 2008, and he also has hearing loss. He was originally employed as a reps advisor, which would be an advisor who would provide advice on different farming matters to our clients. Originally, when he started working, he would have provided this service to his clients through office consultations, phone consultations. A large proportion of his time would have been spent out on site on the farms with the clients. It would have also involved a lot of computer work, office work, dealing with various different applications and systems and that side of things. In late 2008, Anthony became ill and was out sick for about 5 to 6 months. It was during that time that he unfortunately lost his sight. During the time when he was out sick, a support team was put together which comprised of Anthony's manager and a staff member from HR and also from our staff training unit. And this team worked with Anthony and the occupational health specialist to agree a return to work action plan. He came back into work in January 2009, and as part of his return to work action plan, his role was examined. It was obvious, I suppose, that there was some of the duties he wouldn't be able to undertake anymore, and so his role was revised. Very much important to that support team and to Anthony himself in revising his role was to make sure that any new role focused on the abilities that he had, and also focused on different technologies that are available and in particular Anthony's aspirations for his future career with the organisation. As well as that, it was important to make sure that the role was varied and provided enough challenge to Anthony so that he would continue to be stimulated and motivated in his work. A national call centre was established through which Anthony provides advice to farmers on various different topics. He writes a weekly article in relation to farming matters for his local newspaper, and he also acts as a special resource advisor to his manager and to other advisors in the unit in which he works. He returned to work initially on a phased basis, I suppose just to ease him back into the workplace, and has built up over time into returning on a full-time basis. The National Council for the Blind in Ireland undertook technology assessment and provided advice in relation to different technologies that were available to help Anthony in his new role, and also provided training to Anthony himself and to the local admin support who would be helping Anthony on a day-to-day basis in his work. It's fair to say that reintegrating back into the workplace is difficult, particularly following a long absence, and as well at a time when the individual themselves is trying to come to terms with a newly acquired disability. Anthony would very much praise the support he received from his manager and his colleagues at the time that he returned to work, and very much feels that this support made the reintegration process a lot less stressful and easier for him. He was keen as well to ensure that the colleagues that he worked with, and even the colleagues based in the centre where he works that wouldn't necessarily deal with him on a day-to-day basis, that they were aware of his disability and aware of the impact that had on him, and also of the different supports that they could help, provide to help him, how they could do that. The nature of the illness that Anthony has means that his needs are changing, and HR and his manager would, together with Anthony, would review these on an ongoing basis to make sure that the supports that are in place are appropriate and that they're meeting his needs. Over time his hearing is deteriorating, so this year we got some specialist hearing equipment which helps him in group meetings, conferences, that type of thing, which is, I was speaking to Anthony the other day, and he's has found it a great help. He's made excellent progress since he has returned to work, and he's really enjoying his role. It's not the role he was originally employed to do, but it's nonetheless very important, and he's making a great contribution to the organisation. His manager in particular speaks very highly of him, particularly of his positive attitude that he has, and this, I suppose, was obvious when he won a Teagasc Innovation Award last year. This is a photograph of Anthony together with the Taoiseach when he at the launch of his A to Z poster. It's a poster in relation to farm safety, and it was for this poster that Anthony won the Innovation Award. This poster has been circulated to our clients, to farmers. It's available in various different co-ops and marts and that, and it really is aimed at heightening awareness for farmers in relation to different farm safety matters. The next slide, I've just listed some of the different organisations which Teagasc have worked with over the years in relation to different disabilities and the staff that we have. We very much acknowledge that we don't have all the expertise internally, and we do need external help. The National Disability Authority have been particularly helpful in terms of our disability policy. The National Council for the Blind and Deaf here were especially helpful in Anthony's case in relation to different technology assessments and training and that side of things. Medmark are the providers of our occupational health service, and I've spoken a bit about the work that they do with us. We've also engaged a number of different private companies and specialists for areas like confidence building, coaching, that's just to name a few. I'll just finish up, I suppose, with some of the lessons that we have learned over the years. Hopefully they might be of help to some of the employers out here. I've spoke previously about Anthony and how he praised his managers and colleagues when he returned to work. We can't underestimate how important they are in terms of making the reintegration process much smoother, and also the support that they provide to individuals in terms of their day-to-day work. As well as that, having your policies in place is one thing, and I can't reiterate this enough. People need to know that your policies are there. Your staff, your managers, they need to know that you have these policies, and they also need to be trained and need to know how to operate them. That's been a huge thing for Teagasc. When an individual returns to work, we appreciate that they might not necessarily be able to do all the duties that they had previously done. But the key thing in terms of revising a person's role, I feel, is to very much focus on the abilities that they have. And that is one of the 4 principles, as I mentioned, in terms of our disability policy. Every case is different. There isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. Every disability is different. Every disability affects individuals in different ways. So your policies and your practices need to be flexible enough to account for that. And finally, I suppose, just in terms of the external help, it is out there. So I would encourage everybody to use it. Thank you very much.